Look at us. We did it. It is week 3. You are just past the halfway point. Well, you're at the halfway point of the developer learning trail in our Agentic process automation training camp. I am genuinely excited to continue this journey with you as we get into the second half of our Agentic process automation training camp, because we're going to continue to build on the skills and Agentic capabilities that we've been learning so far. The higher level skills that we're going to learn in these next couple weeks will truly transform your Agentic process automation solutions. Before we get into that, I want to quickly reflect on what we've covered last week in week 2. We started with our CoSTAR framework for effective prompt design, giving you a structured approach to creating consistent, high-quality prompts for any AI skill that you're looking to create. We then started to jump into our 4 core AI capabilities. We started with 4. We're going to introduce 4 more this week. Classification, which turns those unstructured document elements into meaningful categorizations. Sentiment analysis, which identifies the emotional tone in communication. Named entity extraction, which pulls specific information from text. And data transformation, which enables us to convert data between formats. Finally, we covered some testing approaches, and we talked about F1 scoring as a way to measure and improve prompt accuracy. These foundations are absolutely essential as we move into more advanced capabilities that we're going to be exploring this week. Now, as you've likely noticed, we're on a journey where when it comes to learning these various capability types or skills that make up the underlying logic to power these advanced AI agents. Is this the end-all be-all list of skills that any agent needs? Nope, that's not it, right? But this is a really solid foundation that especially covers the most common use cases that successful agentic process automation programs get started with. In week 2, we focused on classification, sentiment analysis, named entity extraction, and data transformation. These are often the building blocks for more complex agentic solutions. Now that we're focusing on week 3, we're going to be adding to our capabilities with things like summarization, which enables us to distill large volumes of information, language translation for cross-language communication, content generation, where we're creating new text based on inputs, and decision-making for programmatic choices based on context. We're also going to explore Automation Anywhere's enterprise knowledge product, which acts as the connective tissue to make many of these capabilities more powerful by grounding them in your organization's specific data context using retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. What's really exciting about these different capabilities is how they can be combined to solve complex business problems. So, for example, extracting key entities from a document and then summarizing them, or translating a document before generating a response. So, to quickly cover this week's topics, we already talked about several of these of where we're going, but I want to talk about some of the new stuff that we'll be looking at this week. We're going to be going over Automation Anywhere's enterprise knowledge, summarization, translation, content generation, and AI-driven decisions. The one other thing I wanted to highlight here that we didn't talk about yet is how we're going to be exploring the evaluation of AI completeness and faithfulness, which is a methodology to assess complex AI outputs and make sure that they meet your quality standards. As much as it's important to learn all of these various AI capabilities and how they can stack together, we can't overstate how important comprehensive testing approaches are. So it's really important that you don't skip out on that session. Now, you know that I am all about the pro tips for each week, how to get the most out of that week's content. So I've got some new tips for you this week. First, at the end of this week's content, you will have learned all 8 of the agentic capabilities that we think of as the building blocks for building even more advanced AI agents. Think about how you might make a connection between these different capabilities and some of the real-world use cases that have come up recently within your organization. Next, try experimenting with some of these combinations and different capabilities, right? So I jokingly refer to this as trying a new recipe, but the reality is that's not far from the truth. Think about how you can combine these capabilities in different orders or in different ways to solve different problems. So for example, I could extract some key information, then summarize it, and then finally make a decision based on that summarization. These capability chains can solve complex problems that single prompts or single capabilities cannot. Next, like I've said for every week, make sure that you schedule time to meet with your team to discuss potential applications for these different advanced capabilities. The discussion guide in this week's team activity will help you game plan exactly how you can identify the best high value opportunities. And don't forget to share your implementations and your learnings and your ideas using hashtag APA Training Camp on social media. I want to hear all about your different capability recipes, even if you don't call them that. But think of the different ways that you can put these different capabilities, these different skills together, and how you might share that with others in our community. Share it on social media, share it in our community forum. Your idea may unlock a new idea for someone else that they will also share, and we all win when everyone's contributing. Finally, as always, our community, our team is here to support your development. So visit our community forums for technical questions about these different advanced capabilities. We've had some great discussions there for week 1 and week 2. And many developers are exploring the same kind of challenges that you're facing. So it's great to have that camaraderie. Connect with fellow developers who may have discovered creative ways to apply these different capabilities and combine them for maximum impact. Also, don't hesitate to share both your successes and challenges. Sometimes the most valuable learnings come from discussing implementation hurdles and how to overcome them. I am absolutely pumped to see how you're going to implement these new advanced AI agent capabilities in your automation solutions. Week 3 is where you're really going to start to see the transformative potential of agentic process automation as we work towards some full end-to-end builds in week 4. Good luck. I cannot wait to see what you build with these new powerful capabilities. Thanks for watching. Enjoy this week's courses, and I'll see you in the next one.